Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers. Push for Peace.
Hip-hop was just considered black ghetto music.
Rikers Island.
It's not like Rikers Island is only for the bad.
And the NYPD.
I am furious. I am outraged.
The biggest moments from 3 powerful summits.
It makes the most peaceful man in the world cringe.
It's a Street Soldiers special, the town halls.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Lisa Evers. This year on Street Soldiers, we took our hot brand of talk right to the people with a groundbreaking series of town halls. Tonight, we begin with our exclusive visit to Rikers Island, the first ever town hall with inmates, correction officers, and hip-hop legend Fat Joe. Let's talk to some of the inmates here and see what they have to say. Who wants to talk to me? Got a question or comment? All right, what's your first name?
My name is Eric.
Okay.
Well, I would like to, further on with Fat Joe was saying, when I came to Rikers Island a long time ago, I had the same mindset that, this was a place that I didn't want to be. Unfortunately, I have got certain things that I would have never accomplished on the outside at my own times and here. Also, I'm in a success house. That's a house where, for me, we go to school every day, we do programs. For me, we all there to better ourselves. If one is down, we pick them up. Our motto is no man left behind. So that means if I'm on the right path, I would like for all my peers to stay on the right path. So it's not like Rikers Island is only for the bad. You do have some good people here that will help, from inmates to staff to councils. So, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing that you hear, period.
Deputy Warden Williams, one of the aspects of these new programs that we've seen has been this whole issue of reducing idle time.
Yes.
And also increasing programming. Why is that so important in a jail facility like this?
It's very important because when you decrease idle time, you don't give the young adult population any thought process into doing anything negative. So you have them go to recreation. You have them with tablets. You have them, like Deputy Commissioner when that song that spoke about, we have them come to classes and various workforce classes where they get digital literacy, carpentry, they get in life skills. So when you have them in these classes all day, and then at 8 o'clock they go back to the house, the only thing they want to do is call home, tell their family they love them, take a shower, and get back up tomorrow and do the same thing because they're looking towards their future instead of their past.
One time I had a friend, we put him in a fat farm, right? And so we put him in a fat farm where it's almost like jail, and they taught him how to eat, and they gave him everything to eat, and he lost a lot of weight. We went to pick him up, and we was driving back home, and I noticed that everywhere we drove, he was looking at McDonald's, he was looking at KFC, he was looking at everything. Yo, KFC, yo. But he lost all his weight, but it wasn't really reality because he wasn't in a real setting, a real environment. So what are the things we are doing for these inmates if we're teaching them different various courses or whatever, that when they get out into the street, they're not tempted to do the negative things and use the tools and everything they're learning in here? Because it seems like before my time, there was always stories of guys saying, I want to do better, I get out of jail, I went to 34 fruit stands, I went everywhere, and I just can't get a job. So what could we do to turn this program that we're talking about into reality in the streets when somebody goes home? I'm proud and I'm happy about this program. I'm happy they're helping this selected few inmates, but what the world is going to see, right? If everybody just says Rikers is the greatest place to go, let's go to college or whatever, what the world is going to be thinking is that the corrections department picked 12 guys that think that this is cool, and what about the other 2,000, 3,000 inmates who's over there who might have a different opinion? So I'm just a independent voice. And I'm just thinking about the viewers who's watching. If everybody's going to sing Kumbaya, they want to know what's going on with the 2,000 guys, that maybe somebody's getting their face cut. Maybe somebody is getting abused in here. Maybe somebody's getting sexually abused.
Let's ask the warden about that. What do you say about what he's saying?
I understand what he's saying, and it makes sense because the public will say you handpicked. This is not the perfect program. We're working towards it. We didn't have a role model. Like, we started from scratch. These group of guys, unfortunately, we're going to lose these guys. We're going to start with a new bunch of guys. The summer's going to be very challenging for us because we get a whole new group of guys. These guys went to school, they passed their GEDs, these guys are going home, they're moving on. So it will be challenging for us, but we got to relate to those guys just like we related to these guys. The reality is that we can't reach everybody. We try to reach as many as possible, and the whole concept is, this guy's acting up, he's not good for this program, let's kick him out. No, we want to get this guy through the program. And we work together as a unit to get the guys through the program. Everybody's not as successful as the other, but if I just tweak something in your mind, like you might not have passed the program, but I changed your mindset. You want to do better. These are the elite guys. You're right, these are the elite guys. However, they're guys that we're still trying to work on. Like, some guys are loyal to their gang. And because your leader told you that you can't participate, you won't participate. In your heart, you really want to. And that's the guy I want to reach, because the game's not loyal to you. You're not at the top of the food chain, you know. But it's a challenge. Success is a moving target. And, you know, I've been working here 32 years, 33 years in a couple of months, and I'm still not leaving because I think I got something to offer these young guys.
I believe it, and I know where you come from, and I've been preaching the same thing my whole life. It's a mentality where it's the correction officers against the inmates, right? But when I turn around and I walk up in here, all I see is Black and Latino officers, and I say, where's the compassion? These are your little brothers. These are guys that you should mentor and you should be cool with, not talk down upon them.
Not long after joining us at Rikers, Fat Joe was back with us for another all-star panel, this time our NYPD Town Hall. That's coming up next.
I want to die when I see Blacks and Latinos die by policemen on TV.
After our groundbreaking show at Rikers Island, we took things to the next level, a town hall with the NYPD and the community. And once again, Fat Joe was front and center. When we talk about issues in our society, like homelessness, it's the police officers, the 911 call goes to you guys. A lot of these other issues, the 911 call goes and police officers have to respond. What do you say about what Jumani, that basically it all falls in the lap of the police?
It's always been that way. With the police, we are the last resort. We're the ones that you're going to call if something happens, if there's a problem in your neighborhood, and it's our responsibility to step up and do what we can. Can we solve everything? Absolutely not. But I tell you what, we have a lot of people, a lot of cops, a lot of initiative to try something, that'll step out, that'll know how to do the Heimlich maneuver if you need it. And to Jumani's point before about racial injustice, we know in 2014 things weren't going right. We know there had to be change. There's absolutely no way we can make that change overnight. It's going to take time, but we're moving in that direction. We acknowledge that there were problems in the past and that we have to move and we have to talk.
The problem is, when we're looking at TV and on camera, seeing Blacks and Latinos getting murdered on TV, and the officers not getting held accountable, it makes the most peaceful man in the world cringe. And what he said was powerful. He said, man, cops, I know if I'm dying, I'm calling the cops, right? They robbed my house, I'm calling them, right? I need them. But we asking the police officers to be psychiatrists. We asking them to be family. You know, you arguing with your wife. We asking them to break up the fight. We asking a lot of you, right? I got that. I never really saw that angle before. But we need accountability, man. And the people keep feeling like maybe there's hope, maybe there's hope. Let me tell you a secret. I am furious. I am outraged. I want to die when I see Blacks and Latinos die by policemen on TV. But I feel the same way when I see police officers die. I feel the same way because I love these people because they're human, they're our people. And they save a lot of people. So who are we going to hold accountable for these deaths when police officers are shooting kids 12 years old, 11 years old for playing in a park with a toy gun?
And the difference between those two, because I feel the same way.
You're talking about Cleveland, right?
But the difference between when an officer is killed, and it's horrible, like we all should pause and say that person is not going home to their family. But I guarantee you someone will be held accountable. When it's the other way around, the accountability isn't there.
Okay, let me ask Chief Monahan, because there is this perception that, people, and a lot of the people that I've been talking to, and a lot of people would agree, yes, there has been progress, but there's still a very strong sense that if somebody else dies as a result of their actions, most likely they're going to pay some kind of penalty, at least lose their job. They may get arrested, they may do time. But if a police officer clearly does something that is illegal, according to the department rules, like an illegal chokehold, they don't lose their job. Can you help us understand what that's all about?
Absolutely. And first off, just the idea we talk about the Tamar Rice case in Cleveland is that something happens nationwide in this country, it reflects on every cop. This is New York City. What we are worried about are the residents and the people of New York City and how we police here in New York City. And listen, we have a robust internal affairs division that really looks deeply at these cases. Not everything can be tried in the media or on TV or in the paper. There has to be a process, and there's a long process between District Attorney's Office, U.S. Attorney's Office, and then we get to take them into our trial room. Just a little-known fact that people don't realize. Since 2014, 185 police officers have been fired for different acts that they've occurred. That's something that never seems to get out. It's something that we as a department probably don't get out as much as we should.
Police community relations is a topic that's at the heart of what we do here at Street Soldiers. You can be sure the conversation is just getting started. Coming up, some legends come out to help us push for peace. This summer at Brooklyn Borough Hall, I hosted our 7th annual Push for Peace Summit. The topic, making money and making music. And on the panel, some hip-hop legends as well as some rising stars. I want to start with you, DMC. When you look at where hip-hop is right now, what do you see going on?
So now that hip-hop is this widely received, I think it's time for the artists and also the corporations putting out the music to allow a new, fresh breath of inspirational, motivational music to participate. And what I mean by that is, when we came along, when Run DMC came along, we got turned down by every label. In the beginning, hip-hop was just considered black ghetto music. And nobody thought it was going anywhere. But it started to go somewhere because those young brothers and sisters from the black ghetto started talking about history, started talking about politics, started talking about education, started talking about what this panel today is about, the positive things that's going on in the community. If we would start letting the world know how powerful that positivity is, we would start to see a change in those communities.
Enuff, let me ask you, what do you think about this whole idea of how far it's come?
That's amazing. I love it. Hip-hop saved my life. I'm glad I'm here. I chose to follow my dreams, and I'll be honest with you, my parents, I had great parents growing up, so I was lucky. My mom always said, chase your dreams. My dad was very old school, blue collar, and was like, what are you doing? What? Playing music, huh? My dad was a sanitation guy / firefighter, so he was like, you work hard, you get paid, and that's how you do your thing. So for me, playing records and hanging around break dancers and graffiti, and he was like, what are you doing? But now 40-something years later, he's like, I'm so proud of you. Hip-hop is just amazing, because think about, if that's my story, there's jobs for everybody in hip-hop, so there's journalism, there's radio, there's, you can actually perform, there's engineers, there's camera guys, like, there's production, there's all kinds of jobs that are in hip-hop. And since we are the leading genre in music in the world, that means there's more money.
In the world.
There's opportunities for everybody.
Definitely, there is opportunity for, and you brought up journalism, and so Somia, give us a sense, because we're talking about how big it is and how far it's come. Is that just hype and because we feel good and love the music, or is that real?
I mean, we definitely feel good and love the music, but the numbers are there, and especially if you look at any of the streaming platforms, hip-hop is the genre people are listening to, and it's not just millions, we're talking billions of streams. And it's so funny because a lot of times you turn on like award shows or kind of, you know, look through like old school publications, they still kind of view hip-hop as this very niche genre. But, you know, I always tell people, like, it's not pop culture. Like, hip-hop is pop music, it's pop culture, it affects fashion and politics and food and lifestyle, it's everything. So it's really a cultural force. You know, it's not just music or something people are doing in New York or LA, it's global. Like, you can go to Japan and they're listening to hip hop, you can go anywhere. And I think that's, you know, if you talk about sort of American culture, I think one of the greatest exports is hip hop culture, and it's touched people in languages they don't even speak English. They don't understand the lyrics to the music, but they know every Run DMC song. They know what Hot 97 is, and they live in Uzbekistan. You know what I mean? Like, it's a global cultural,
which is amazing. Which is so amazing. Buddha, grab that mic there. I want to ask you about, you know, coming up in terms of opportunities. You know, what you came from, what you overcame, and
I mean,
how you got in the game.
Growing up in the Bronx was definitely a challenge, and that's the birthplace of hip hop. But just being, you know, residing in the 80s and 90s, you didn't have too much to look up to. So coming up, just even seeing hip hop programs in schools and see how influential the culture and the music is it's unbelievable. And I'm actually proud to be from New York and from the Bronx. You know, one of the poorest counties in the United States, but it also birthed this culture to have legends like DMC and Enuff able to kick down doors and provide opportunities for us to eat. And music alone is a soundtrack to people's lives. So to be a part of that is a dream come true.
A total dream come true.
Absolutely.
Jazzie, Belle, in terms of the women, because, you know, back in the day, it was like the female artists had to kind of be with a guy clique or a guy crew, or they had to be affiliated in some way, and that's changed a lot. What do you see happening with women in hip hop?
I'm happy to see where it's going right now, because like I said in the beginning, we had the Chirac, we had the Roxanne Shantays. Now fast forward, you got Cardi B, you got Nicki Minaj, you got Remy Ma, you got all of these rappers, female rappers that's coexisting in a space right now together. When back then, that wasn't the case. So I love what it's doing. I love what it's doing with Remy Ma. I love what it's done for Queen Latifah. And there's nothing greater to see a woman on TV that represents what I look like, represents a voice unapologetically, represents strength in a male-dominated field. So I love women in hip-hop. I grew up with 7 brothers in a household, and when I look at hip-hop, I look at the women in it, and they set a great example for me.
Pressure. In terms of the music that influenced you and what's influencing what you're doing right now that is so hot here, tell us about that.
Yes, I mean, I love music. I just felt like, you know, that was my way of expressing myself and letting the people know that it's okay to be down, and you know, it's a mood thing, you know. So you know, again, music saved my life. You know, it changed my life. You know, the last year alone, like this 1 year, just been so magical. I've been all over, you know, United States. You know, and it's a blessing. But you know, I just want to touch on what DMC touched on. What about the educational thing? Like, you know, music. I always try to let the kids, I do things for the kids. I use music to influence kids. Like a lot of people on the neighborhood, I would tell them things a year before I made it, like, oh, listen, stay in school and do this, but now my voice is more powerful, you know what I'm saying? So now when the next video? And I'm like, yeah, next video is next week, but how's school? You know, are you playing any sport? You know, so I'm using my fame just to spread the word and letting these kids know, stay in school.
Thank you for joining us for this special episode of Street Soldiers. You can watch all of our town halls on the Fox 5 YouTube channel. And remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace.